I'd like to take a moment and thank our sponsor. If you have a laser device for training and you want to take it to the next level, or if you're looking to get into using a laser device for training, check out the products at laserapp.com. LASRAPP.com. You can use code CSP2021 for 15% off the items you've selected. And thanks for checking them out. So how would you compare it to the year before
Mhm.
when Nationals was at Frostproof?
Oh, year before was fantastic experience in my life. That
Okay.
was that was the most mental wreck I've ever experienced, mental roller coaster. So
Wow.
that was the year I shot the most rounds in my life that year, and also perhaps trained the most live fire as well. In terms of skill set, um, I mean, I really believe I have better skill set this year than ever. But last year was also feeling the same. When I shot last year nationals, I was feeling my skill set is better than ever before, and I was telling myself I'm in a strong contention to win. That was 3 days match as well. The first day, after first day, I was leading by 15 points, something like that.
I saw that.
That has never happened in my shooting career. I was always usually following the leader very close up and then make a mistake on the very last moment where I shouldn't have to push. I push and then make a mistake. But this time was happening the first day. Actually, Matt Nash and I were staying together. We carpooled together. And after day one, we were going back to the Airbnb. And he was telling me, "Hey, Kim, why aren't you saying anything? Are you okay?" And I was telling him, "Matt, I'm leading. I don't know what to do. Should I be pushing? Or should I be just shooting as I shot today? Or should I just let myself loose a little bit and shoot more safe plan because I'm leading 15 points?" Uh, we actually, I don't think Matt knew exactly what I should have been doing either because for me, it was first time happening. And Matt, maybe not understanding fully in my shooting skills. So we were not really coming up with a solution. And my solution was actually okay. The tomorrow day two, because I have 15 points lead, I'm gonna shoot comfortable. I'm gonna shoot safe. So first stage, I shot extremely safe, and the opponent, Max Michel, shot extremely well. I think he shot all stage wins except one stage in day two.
Yep. And that was that first stage. He was second.
Yeah, I'm not sure actually which one was,
Yeah.
but yeah. So basically, I lost more than 10 points on that first stage. So on the second stage, I'm thinking I'm still leading, but not by a lot at all. So what should I do? So I'm just gonna see what happens. I'm gonna shoot comfortable and then see how Max shoots. So I shot more comfortable, same comfortable level, and then now he gains some points too. And then the next stage, I feel like I need to push now because now I'm tie or behind.
Mm.
And I chose a wrong area to push. Typically, when I am pushing in terms of how much confirmation I'm going to have on the sights. That's one area. And then the second one is the activating sequence. So if there's a swinger, I may try to squeeze one more target, things like that. So the third stage, I think, was one of the activating swinger, two swinger, things like that. So I decided to push on both sectors, confirmation level, and also try to get perfect on the swinger sequence. And it was happening pretty well. But Max Michel did just a little bit better. So now I'm thinking, okay, I got to go harder than that in my mind.
Okay.
And that's when the wheels started falling off.
Mm.
The mistake, I think the true mistake over here is not considering day three in calculation, meaning some
Okay.
of the stuff in day three was what I was good at. It was a little bigger field course and perhaps more further accurate shots. My strengths is shooting on the move, and I'm highly accurate shooter. However, in day 2 was very fast shooting, some high hit factor shootings too. And Max Michel is exactly strengths on those sector. And I was playing push game on his strengths sector, which should be the
Right.
opposite.
Right.
Yes, there was a big learning. If I push on a sector that I am strong, first of all, the rate of mistake is probably going to be lower, less
Mm-hmm.
likely to make a mistake. But even if I make a mistake, my score is probably still good. But if I am not good at something, my weakness, if I take a risk over there, then the points lost is a lot greater. And even if I do push, the opponent who has a strength in my weakness, if even if he just shoot okay, if my push run on my weakness is probably going to be about the same. So that's something I learned. Aha, if this stage is my weakness and his strength, I should just play safe so I don't lose too much points. Because if I try to push on my weakness, the lost points potentially is so much greater.
Yes.
So that's exactly what happened in day 2. And then by day 3, it was not able to catch. Yes. So that was
Right.
pretty good interest. Mhm.
And to summarize what you're saying, correct me if I'm wrong, but let's use that exact example. If it's a high hit factor, and let's say that Max would normally be first and you would be third,
Mhm.
and you push it, the only thing that's really going to happen is you're going to drop to fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. So that points gap gets bigger. Whereas, like you're saying, if it's a stage where you would normally be first and Max is third, and
Mhm.
you push it, the worst that's going to happen is you'll be second or third, and Max would be one step closer, but you're not losing points. But the chance of gaining points is much, much greater in your favor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So there's an
Mm.
unknown variable here that we're not talking about, and it's that Max met me the day before, and I gave him a fist bump.
That's what I need next time.
So
There you go.
I apologize for ruining your chances. I
No, I
transferred
don't
a
look at
lot
it
of
that
my
way.
power
Mhm.
to him on that day. I didn't know that's what was going to happen to you, man. I'm really sorry. He
No,
hasn't been on the show, so
I don't look at it that way. How
I
I
mean, I'm
look at
just
it
saying.
is because you gave him the fist bump, I learned this important lesson.
Yeah. So then
Would
you're welcome. I still feel bad, but next time I will withhold my fist bump for you. I'm
Thank you.
There you
Thank you.
so,
go.
but I'm
Next
glad
time.
that I
Next time.
provided you provided an opportunity for learning.
Thank you.
But yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
man.
My addiction in this sport is actually study and learning.
Oh, I'll
Yes,
just go around fist
I've
bumping
noticed.
everybody then. Like I'll fist bump anybody you want me to, so that you can learn something from them. You just give me the that
Yeah,
guy,
that's
and
a guy.
I'll just run up and be like, "What's up, bro?" And then he won't even have to talk.
Yeah. The
That's
funny thing
funny.
is I kind of mentioned about people believing in starting late. In some areas, it may be true. So, for example, if somebody like Max Michel, for example, started at a very young age, in terms of hour of practice, for me, it's going to be pretty much impossible to beat that hours by mathematical number.
Right.
But the thing is, I was thinking, okay, there's all sorts of shooters who started at young age. What can I beat in the process? Now, we're not talking about beating in a match, beating in the process of it. So one
Mm-hmm.
thing that popped me in my mind is I can outstudy them. I grew up in South Korea with fast internet since I was young, so I know how to do web research very well. And that's the only exact strategy I was taking. I can outlearn them and outstudy them. Of course, eventually I need to put some time into it to master that. So that was exactly my strategy was. And I still study like same amount as before. And I have like over 700 gigabytes of study materials like videos and all that stuff in my hard drive. And that's exactly what I do, use technology to be able to gather very important data, important videos, for example, and their scores, and put it in an Excel sheet and kind of figure out what their strategy is in the point value, things like that. And of course, I am videoing myself to slow-mo video and then see what the details I am doing, if my muzzle is wobbling at all in recoil or things like that, if my gun is properly aligned to the target during draw process. All those kind of things can be definitely studied through technology. And I believe it's almost necessary to have a coach in any sport. But the coach can be yourself. In this kind of case, this is actually something that the impression I had when I took Ben's first class. I actually take Ben's class 3 times. And the first time I took his class, the first impression during his feedback was, this guy is a good coach. And I think that's why he didn't have a coach. That's one thing. And he knows how to coach himself. And I did take a class from other people too. But some people had a coach, but they were not their own coach, if that makes sense. So what they're teaching didn't really make sense. And they didn't really know how to coach people well. So that was something impressed me about Ben. I want to be my own coach as well. And that's really good for teaching as well, for sure.
Okay. I need to interrupt you because I have 2 questions. But one, I want to talk about coaching more because we've talked to the Williams sisters about this and some others as well. Gabby Franco, where we've talked about coaching being the future of the USPSA. Now, I know Ben doesn't compete at nationals and he doesn't shoot a lot of USPSA, but do you think that he would be open to being your coach, even if it was via phone after each day of nationals, to work with you with your coaching, because you guys are so similar in that he's very smart about the shooting, teaching it. I mean, he knows the ins and outs of it. And you studying the way you do are the same way. Like, you're a student of the game, literally.
Yeah.
So I feel like you two also are able to relate on a different level altogether. So going back to the question, is that something that you could see in the future where you're still active and he's not, but he's coaching you at the same time?
Well, he in a way is already for a long time. Yeah, we've been very close friends since 2017. 16 is when we really got to hang out, and 17 since then. And also, like, we're not just friends either. We consider as a family, and also we're business partners too. So we do practical shooting training group together. And he has been maybe not in a way like a full-time coach per se, but he's been coaching me very, very well. So like when I go to matches, or not just a local match or anything like that, but big matches, he would often he would often give me some feedbacks and coaching me. And I think sometimes just small text, like saying, hey, right now you're doing good, just keep doing what you're doing, just small sentence was helping me out. Like, that's the first time I won second position at the nationals. So 2017 carry optics, I won second place. And that was exactly what he told me. Hey, don't think about anything. Just doing what you're doing right now. And
I kind of feel like you would have had a better second day in 2020 had you just shot Hwansik Kim's game.
The result may have been really interesting. Very, very interesting. Yes.
For sure.
The first day, Ben was telling me when I was leading, hey, you're doing very good. But I didn't ask, like, how should I be considering it? I didn't follow up on the question because I was so pressured. The fact that I'm leading, because that was the most pressure I felt in my life.
I'm kind of surprised you didn't ask him about that because he's been in that position, you know? So I'm surprised you didn't ask him What did you do when you found yourself in this position?
Yeah, I probably should have asked. But I was just so focused on the stage visualization at the time too.
Okay.
I remember I probably slept 2 hours that night. The
Oh,
whole time,
wow.
yeah. Every time I was trying to sleep, when I try to clear my mind, after 2 seconds, like, what's the next stage? What's the sequence on that one? Things like that.
Wow.
Yeah,
Holy
it's like the
cow.
best and the worst place to be if you're leading. Like it's awesome because you're leading, but then it's like everybody's coming after you and you want to stay where you are, but now everybody's strategy is going to be to knock you down. So that it's great, but I mean, I don't know. I could just from what people have said, it's a good position and a bad position to be in.
Yes. I quite hated it, but I quite enjoyed it.
Right. Yeah. You're like, sup?
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh crap, I have like, how do I stay here? And then you don't sleep but 2 hours.
All right. So I want to share, I downloaded a couple of the videos that you put on Instagram. I want to play a couple of them because I have some questions for you about them. Like, why did you do certain things? Okay.
Yep.
All right. So this first one is now a new classifier. So I actually took you had two different videos. I downloaded them, put them together into one. So it's going to be like 25 seconds, 20 to 25 seconds worth of video, and then we'll talk about it.
Okay.
Here we go.
Are you ready? Stand by.
Okay. That was quick. That was real quick. So the first question I have is when you went from that first array of targets, you transitioned to the second one, you came in on that second target.
Yes.
Now, is that because it was wide open and you could quickly acquire it, or?
That this match, my focus was to minimize the risk as much as possible and make the shooting part easier.
Okay.
Of course, when I transition, first of all, I would like to have the transition time between positions as short as possible. That means I want to keep my shooting speed as if I am shooting everything on one spot. But since there's 3 positions I have to move, I want to force myself to continue, almost sound like ba 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 non-stop instead of ba ba bum, ba bum, ba bum.
Right.
The concept makes sense, right?
Yep.
So in order to be able to do that, first of all, the transition had to go straight to the middle port or the second position. But the risk-wise, if I shoot the no-shoot target first, which I am further away because my transition is so much faster than my body can go to the second position, I'm going to be shooting the target that's most safe because the distance is farther. As I am walking into the position, if I shoot open target and no-shoot target later, then I am closer to the no-shoot target. So in this case,
so you minimize your risk.
Minimizing the risk. And also in the timer, if I went to no-shoot first compared to the open first, the time between the two will be minimal, very, very, very little, because the targets are side by side anyways.
Right.
This is exactly why I chose that. It's really about minimizing the risk and make other people make a mistake.
Okay. So when you're coming in and this is your, well, we'll do it this way. This is your open target. And this is your, oh no, we'll do the other way. I'm sorry. This is your open target. This is your no shoot. So even going to the open target, then to the no shoot, then to the other target over there, those two transitions are still slower than what you did.
Yes, because
or faster, I mean.
Yeah, it's faster because of now what we're trying to do is, first of all, the deeper target did not expose as quick. because deeper target, you have to go all the way to the front.
Right.
So first of all, there's a risk of the target actually not coming out. That's one issue.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it. All right.
I will say, if you listen to his cadence on each set of arrays, it's almost identical. Now, I'm not a
Yeah.
timer, so I couldn't tell you the actual splits,
Mhm.
but the cadence was almost identical between each array.
Agree.
So it's, yeah, you definitely weren't dropping
Even
speed.
yeah, even with the no shoots and everything, it was still pop, 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 pop. Yeah, there was no delay.
Mhm.
Now, I know you shoot a Walther,
Yeah.
so you can fit 23 rounds in your mags?
With modification. The factory setup with a Grams spring is 22 plus 1, but I cut the spring coil to fit
Okay.
23. So I have a dedicated 23 rounder for the stages just like this.
Okay.
Yes. But
All
it's
right.
not,
And that's the only time you use it.
yeah, it's not as reliable. That's exactly how I got the malfunction on a weekend stage. I was
Okay.
shooting 23 rounder. I forgot why I used that one, by mistake probably. But once you cut the spring coil, the speed of your bullet coming up can be slowed down. That's one thing, and it wears
Yep.
out very quickly. My mistake was I didn't change out the spring right before nationals. I changed it 2 months before, which typically that's the life length of cut coil springs, if you're practicing, of course.
Okay.
So yeah, there was one malfunction through that, but I typically don't use 23 rounder unless it's a 23 or 24 round stage.
Gotcha. Okay. I was asking because you know Luigi Lee?
Yes.
Okay. He has a Walther,
Mhm.
but he uses Canic magazines.
Yes.
And I shoot a Canic.
Mhm.
Well, I can only fit 22 plus 1. And he's like, do you want to borrow one of mine? I'm like, yeah, but you're shooting a Walther. Is that going to work in my Canic? He goes, I use Canic magazines. I was like, what? So I actually used his so that I could fit 23 in the magazine and 1 in the chamber. I still screwed it up. I still somehow only put 22 rounds in the magazine somehow. But it's very interesting that he shoots a Walther with Canic magazines and
Yes.
Graham springs, so he doesn't have to trim anything.
Mhm.
So that might be an option for you.
Yeah, I should probably dig it in. If it's reliable,
Yeah.
yeah, of course.
Just
Yeah, it
remember to
worked.
load that extra bullet, though, because
Yeah, don't do like me.
otherwise it's just it's embarrassing. You know?
Yeah.
One thing about Luigi is he's a very good gunsmith. So he
Okay.
might know better in how to make it run more reliably.
Well, now you can reach out to him and say, hey, how do I run a 23 round mag and not have a feeding problem, you know?
Yes. I'm not particularly a good gunsmith. So even if I ask him, it may
That's
not
what friends are
help me.
for.
Maybe he'll set it up for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So we talked about that. All right. So I've got another video.
Mhm.
I did the same thing. So it's a quick one, but I have some questions about this one real quick.
Okay.
All right. Here we go.
Are you ready? Stand by.
Well, there's that ting, 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 ting,
Yeah.
ting, ting. That was perfect. So
Was that you just yelling at it?
Literally, yeah.
I'm impressed.
every time he says ting, the steel falls.
Let's see if that works.
So my question is, so you, from your start position, you ran over to the far left, shot those targets,
Yeah.
and then you moved up to that third position. Now, I shot nationals too, but I did it differently, and this is my question. You shot that inside target to the right first,
Mhm.
and then so you shot right to left.
Yes.
Now I ran up, I shot the one on the left first, and then shot around to that inside one so that I was facing towards the steel target position to get to. I reloaded before I got there, and then I shot. So why did you do it the way you did? I'm very curious.
Yes, not a big reason, to be honest. When I was doing the walkthrough, basically that's actually the last stage at nationals for me. My original plan was to basically shoot on the move way in and way out a lot. So there's a
Okay.
couple opportunities. Like the second position, you can shoot on the move way in and kind of roll through it. And then the third position we're talking to, if you shoot the deeper target, you can start moving around early on the middle section, and you start moving out. Bum 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 bum. That was my original plan. In the walkthrough, when I was going through the walkthrough, my injury was telling me, "Hey, you don't want to do this. You don't wanna do this."
Okay. That makes sense. Okay.
So that usually changing the plan last minute, like especially shooting on the move or not. This is a different case, but if you are changing the way you are engaging the target, so for example, left to right, right to left, or hitting the position footstep a little bit differently, kind of thing. Unless there's a huge difference, don't change it. If you change it, you're increasing the chance of mistake because you're now trying to override the original program.
Right.
Yes. So that's just
every time I've changed my stage plan in between what I came up with till the time I shoot, it never goes well, ever.
I was really hoping you were going to be like, I'm taller than you, so I have longer arms, and I didn't want to bump into the wall. Like, I was really hoping you were going to say something like that. Just like, no, my foot hurt. Like, you got to help me out, man.
He is definitely. Go ahead,
Hwansik. That position was fired stationary. Then shooting left to right and right to left, the difference in scoring, it doesn't matter.
Right, I agree.
Well, we all get that, but the other way would have been funny. Come on, man.
So
I can say that the Earth was circling faster at that moment, so I just that direction.
See,
there it is.
Like that would have been brilliant.
There we go. That's why he should have been a physics major.
Yeah.
Now I will say, you can't tell by the podcast because he's sitting down, but he is definitely tall enough to be production national champion. I believe he's 5 foot. I believe he's 5'17". Are you 6'5", Hwansik?
No, 4.
Oh, okay.
I was an inch off. Very tall. Very tall.
I definitely tell. Well, because we've both seen you in real life, but also like your videos. I love watching it when like the RO was like reaching up to put the thing by your head. I'm like, yeah, it's not because the RO is short.
Right. Yeah.
The tallest Korean you ever see.
I mean,
yeah. Except in the Korean national basketball team.
Yes.
There you go. So what does your 2022 schedule look like?
Right now, in terms of the match schedule, I am planning on mostly one match a month from March to depends on the war shoot, but October. If the war shoot's happening, probably one a month at least till November. There will be a month there I will be shooting 2 matches, so a couple area matches and couple level 2s. But there's of course teaching schedules too. So one of the biggest one will be the summit for PSTG. So Practical Shooting Training Group, we have a summit. So every year, there's no like entrance fee other than to cover the targets and some range official expenses. So basically, any training members can come over. And last year we had instructors, of course, Ben and I and Joel, with 3 of us going to be there, of course. And we had Jason Bradley, Mason Lane. We had Lane Gris, Lane Gris, and Rob Epifania. There were so many good shooters. Matt Hopkins. I think we had 11 instructors, but all the instructors, fabulous. Not just fabulous shooters, but they're fabulous teachers. So a lot of people
Okay.
have time. That's for
Yeah,
me.
that's like June time frame, isn't it? Like May, June, somewhere through
depends.
there.
Next year will most likely be end of April because
Oh,
we have
okay.
some big matches in May. So we're trying to have people tuned up for that. So either late April or very beginning of May, I think.
In Wisconsin again?
Yes,
Yeah, that could be a little chilly.
just a little bit, maybe not too much.
Yeah.
It's going to be better than Washington for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We can hope. um, so with the way Carry Optics Nationals was done this year, separate of all the other stuff other than PCC, but separate of all the pistol stuff, there were a lot of guys who competed who didn't normally compete in Carry Optics.
Yes.
Next year, with it being its own standalone nationals, it's going to be the exact same way.
I agree.
So knowing that, do you plan on changing your training to be able to prepare for that stacked of a nationals again, or you just plan on doing the normal Hwansik Kim training that you would normally do for nationals?
Yes. The thing how I always think so far was always focusing on the IPSC workshoot. Because to be honest, I don't really care about winning nationals. My goal is to win the workshoot. And the style of shooting and the characteristics is pretty different. So good analogy is last year nationals, when we look at it, some stage is a 15 hit factor, some stage 10, some stage 5, some stage 7. So it's a consistent gear change, speed change. But at the workshoot, you don't see that much of a gap in shooting speed per se. I don't see any stages that are above 10 hit factor at the workshoot. Pretty rare. Most of the stages you see are somewhere around 5 to, if it's high, it's going to be 7. But you see a lot of a 5, 6 hit factor stage with a lot of movements. So that has been always my focus. And I think one of the reasons why one of my strengths is shooting on the move is there's a lot of shooting on the move opportunity and perhaps a lot further shots while moving. In the US, yes, there's shooting on the move, but a lot of the shooting on the move is closer distance. And also we can talk about bigger dimension of A zone, because IPSC, the dimension of A zone is slightly narrower. I mean, in the biggest part is the same width, but it's triangled up and down.
Right.
So there's more chance to drop points. So in terms of that, I don't think I'm going to be changing my strategy in terms of really focusing on IPSC performance, because I don't think the workshoot is 100% solid planned, because they're saying it's going to be next year, 2020 too. But I don't believe that it's 100% solid announcement, even though they said it because of the COVID and all that.
Yeah, that seems to be what everybody we've talked to, Shannon Smith, you, it doesn't matter who it is.
Yes.
Everybody's feeling like there's a better chance it won't happen than it will happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm still going to try to be basically, first of all, my focus is to get my health back, because this year I had many things happening. That's my very first goal. But in terms of like my technique focus, I don't think it's going to change a whole lot. I'm still going to try to be accurate in shooting the move a lot.
Yeah, I kind of feel like IPSC is kind of right up your alley in that, with that 3-2-1, that consistent shooting on a certain pace, being able to, like you said, shoot on a move, and your strength being accurate shooting.
Yes.
I mean, that's pretty much what, because you can't game it like USPSA. You have to stay within the boundaries, the fault lines, and do your shooting. I feel like that's right up your alley.
It's more of a marathon style for IPSC match. USPSA is more of a F1 formula, a lot of corners around.
Yeah, it's a sprint every stage. So yeah, totally agree. Now I wanted to also moving to a different topic, you and I, well, I'll leave it down there. I don't need to break it up. But you and I shoot the SRO.
Yeah.
And there was something you said, I believe you said it on Ben's podcast about your SRO. How many rounds do you have on your SROs?
I probably have 6 or 7 SROs. And one of them has the most round counts of all, which is on my practice Walther. Last year, I stopped counting the round count on it at 13,000. Wait, 130,000. Sorry, 130,000. By now, it can be 150.
Wow. Without a failure on it.
One failure that was user mistake.
What was that?
The dot went out during recoil, and I just didn't simply tighten the cap strong enough.
Oh, okay.
No mechanical failure. Zero mechanical failure. Yes.
I was gonna be like, I forgot to turn it on. I know.
That's an extremely impressive.
Yeah.
Have 130 plus thousand rounds on something, and the only mechanical failure was a user error.
Yes.
I mean, we've had
wasn't a mechanical failure. Wasn't a
Right.
mechanical, yeah.
right.
No,
the
no,
only-
no.
the
Body
only-
mechanics is what he was talking
Yeah.
about.
Oh yeah, yes.
You know, just gotta,
My mechanics.
as my mom says, con ganas. You gotta, you know.
I mean, we've had Jason Bradley on who uses the Delta Point Pro,
Yeah.
and I don't know how many Delta Point Pros he's been through.
Yes,
You know?
I've shot Delta Point Pro previously to SRO. I have 5, and at the time I had 4, and 4 of them all combined went to factory about 10 times.
Wow, goodness, that's a huge difference.
Yeah.
I'm gonna assume they're not a sponsor.
No, I don't have enough.
Okay. Just wanna I'm not trying to get you in trouble with the sponsor. You know.
But the funny thing is, they
Definitely.
have changed the circuit board design, and ever since the circuit board design changed, none of my Delta Points broke. But the thing is, I stopped shooting Delta Point as a main, so I'm only experiencing like 10,000 through Delta Point since the modification, probably.
Okay.
They started
Now, I
making
know
a circuit
you-
board in Korea. That's why it works now.
I hope so.
You know?
Now I know you get you and I actually sent messages back and forth a while back about the 3 dots in the SRO.
Oh yeah. Fake dots, yes.
Yeah, and initially I didn't have those. I didn't get that until later on after using it for quite a while. All of a sudden I started getting that. It hasn't changed or affected anything, but that's the only thing that I've noticed with it that's a little weird or odd.
Yes, that is definitely one downside. That's why I use the front side or front optic cover. So to eliminate the refraction or fake dot, whatever.
Right. Okay.
I was like, I don't know what we're talking about because I'm balling on a budget. You know. I can't afford that kind of stuff.
Do not believe him, Hwansik. He is lying. All you have to do is look behind him and look at all those cases. He's a liar. He's a liar.
It's just a background on my computer. It's a
No. That's a lie. That is a lie. All right. Now I wanted to. I got another picture I want to share with you real quick because I know you're a Walther shooter. So I had some, and I know you've been shooting the PDP quite a bit.
Yep.
So that's what I wanted to talk about next. So here, as I understand it, this is the compact PDP here.
Yep.
At the bottom. Okay, then a 4.5, a 5-inch PDP, and then your Q5.
Yes. Still frame.
Okay. Is the PDP, because I couldn't tell on their website, is the PDP also a steel frame?
No, plastic frame.
Okay. Even the 5-inch that you were shooting is plastic?
Yeah, all plastic.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. And you're liking it as much as your Q5?
there's things that I like better. There's things that I like less. So, for example, grip is longer, and I like that a lot because I have
Okay.
a bigger-ish hand size.
Well, yeah,
And
you're 6'5",
Yeah.
6'4". I'm sorry, 6'4".
The typical PPQ or Q5 lines have a little bit short grip size. So the bottom of my palm is kind of sticking out. So when I first tried PPQ, when I was reloading, I was clipping the bottom of my palm as I am inserting the mag. So I had to learn how to keep the palm away. So of course, first of all, I have to kind of rotate the gun to punch the mag release. My thumb isn't as the thumb isn't reaching without tilting the gun. So when I tilt it, I just simply learned how to get the palm out of the way. So in that kind of case, I can kind of do reloads without any issues. But if I am shooting PDP, I can keep the grip pretty much the same position during the reload without pinching anything. So I can say basically I'm not moving the gun around, then likelihood of keeping that good grip during the reload and after reload is better. So there's a little bit more consistency that way. So that's why I like the grip a lot. And also the beaver tail is a little bit more rounded on PDP. So I can get the thumb slightly higher on it, which what I like to do. In terms of PDP, another thing is it's all optic ready. So none of the guns are actually iron sight dedicated. You get an optic ready gun, you can put optic on anytime you want. So that's another thing I like about. The serration is great. I really like the big, deep serration, sharp serrations. It doesn't like cut my hand or anything like that. But in the wintertime, your hands can get a little slippery in dry weather. And of course, Q5, it's not like it's going to slip around much, but the PDP is just way solid. So if you're shooting like a bad ammo sometimes, because you're reloading crappy, I sometimes do that with coated bullets. And when you have to wreck the bullet out of the slide, it's really easy to grab it. Whereas, because sometimes, first of all, I don't want to grip the slide or the optic. I sometimes wreck it with the optic, of course. But when I have to wreck it really hard, I'm just cautious about the optic. So I just grab the front serration. And that really sharp front serration, you don't lose the grip on whatever you do with it.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know why, but when I first started shooting, I used an RMR.
Yeah.
And I would rack it with the RMR all the time. I didn't care. But as soon as I switched to the SRO, for whatever reason, I'm like, I don't want to pull on the optic. So I only, like you, I grab the front of the slide and rack it.
Yeah, my story is so I had it happen when I gripped the optic and the racket. I had a slide bite on my palm one time.
Ooh.
Yeah, because I mean, if I am gripping the top side of the optic, it won't happen. But if I'm using like the middle palm section to smack the optic, then the bottom palm can get sucked into the chamber or the port. And
Yeah.
I got beat one time. And in a pressure situation, if you're having a malfunction during a stage, there's no guarantee you're going to be using the top part only, right? So
Right.
if the bottom palm get deep down to the optic, then you can get sucked into the port when the slide goes forward, and it can bite you.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, I think we've all been there. It's not fun. Yeah, I like a good aggressive story.
Yeah, absolutely. So how does the trigger on the PDP compare to the trigger on your Q5?
If we are talking about both factory, PDP is actually coming as a little bit lighter. The Q5 out of the box will be 5.5 ish. PDP will be higher 4, so 4 ounce and 4 pounds 8 to 10 ounce is what I usually get on my PDP. But on the Q5, I put a spring from Sprinkle. So now the trigger is 3.5.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
How's
3.5.
the reset on that?
Very good reset.
Yeah.
Very strong reset. I can get it lighter. I believe Luigi's trigger is lighter. the reason why I'm keeping it 3.5 is because of the IPSC rule. IPSC striker guns are required to have more than 3-pound trigger.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Who's your holster maker up here?
That's tier 1.
Yes.
I was going to ask.
I was wondering.
I was going to ask a question about that.
That's what I was wondering, but I couldn't. Go ahead, ask them.
That's why I did this. I'm like, oh, because they are not a sponsor, but I wish they were, because all of my everyday carries are tier 1, and I love them. Is that what you use for your everyday carry? Do you like?
That's the one I use the most. I have many different brands. Depends on. Most of the time, I'm carrying appendix.
Yeah, same.
Yes, for
Which
appendix
is
carry.
Interesting when you're fat, but yeah.
I do
Just saying.
I do have tier 1 and TXC, which both are about similar style.
Yeah.
But different design. So if I feel fancy, I'm gonna use TXC.
Fancy like Applebee's.
if he's dressed up for a night on the town, keep it classy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just curious because I really like their holsters a lot, and you can get them optic ready and lights and all the fancy doodads, but I think they're very comfortable. So that's why I was curious.
They're definitely one of the best. I have tried T-Rex Arms, Tier 1, TXC, and some other companies as well. But I find Tier 1, in terms of appendix carry, I like the best.
Yeah, agreed. And again, not a sponsor, but if anybody from there is listening, I'm not going to say no.
Yeah. Now, there was something else I meant to ask, and I stopped sharing too soon. The other thing I had a question about is on the Walther page, they say the PDP has a new improved grip texture.
Yeah. Yes.
How do you like that?
Oh, I love it a lot.
He got really excited when you asked him.
He did. He sure did.
It was last year when it first came out. I posted a video of it slow motion in snow, and typically when I shoot in the snow, of course when I put like a pro grip on my hands, it's a different story. But that video was shot without any pro grip or anything like that, just natural hand. When my hands are pretty dry and slippery, the texture really changes how much I need to grip or how hard I need to grip. And with that texture, I didn't have to grip like other slicker guns in the snow. So I really liked it a lot.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah, you got real excited when he asked that question.
Now, because since you're a sponsored shooter, were they kind enough to send you some to shoot, to try out?
Yes, all of them are not out of my pocket.
Awesome. It's good to be Hwansik.
Shooting.
This is exactly why. Yes, Leo, this is exactly why you have to get good at shooting.
Yeah, that's why. It's just you're Mel Brooks. It's good to be the king,
That's awesome. Do you think you're going to switch? Do you think you'll use it at all next year in carry optics, or is that still being decided?
I really wanted to and planning to change to PDP, but the war shoot, because of the war shoot, I am the production optics heavy team. So,
okay.
Yeah, there's a heavy and light. Yes.
Yeah.
So for that reason, because the reason why I'm training with PDP right now is one reason is the winter reason I was talking about. It's a lot easier, and also it's a lot warmer to shoot with the plastic grip. If it's a steel grip, it's very cold.
Yes. Yeah, you can heat up plastic a lot easier with your hands than steel.
Yes,
for sure.
Exactly. But once I enter the shooting season, I'm mainly going to be shooting the steel frame because of the IPSC war shoot. I cannot have a risk of changing to PDP and then the war shoot say, "Hey, we're gonna do it." Then I need to transition.
You got to switch back.
That's not something I want to do, especially with the ammo shortage. That's been very bad, ammo shortage.
Well, and before we get to the training, that's what I wanted to talk to you about, because again, when you and I were talking at your rental car,
Mhm.
we were talking about the ammo shortage. You said you asked your the ammo company who was sponsoring you got a new CEO or somebody like that, and they stopped sponsoring anybody. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now, so everybody listening, he's looking for a new ammo sponsor.
That's true.
Yeah. See.
And
So
he's worth sponsoring.
yes,
Thank
he
Putting that out
is.
there.
Thank you so much.
You know, and we are too, but yeah, mostly him.
So how much has that hurt your training, your live fire training?
Um, the sponsorship was officially gone spring of last year. If I give you the number, 2020, I shot only 9mm over 100,000 rounds, and combining with PCC and rifle ammo and some 40s, we're talking over 120,000. But last year, or I should say this year, 9mm wise, I think it was close to 40,000.
That's a big difference.
Yes. So, but the thing is, I shot 40 caliber. So 9mm. When I heard from the company, I immediately start calculating the stock in my at home, how much ammunition and primers I have, because I had a ammunition company sponsor. I didn't buy primers because there's no reason to load up.
Right. Right.
So in the April month, where I had a couple pistol matches and two gun matches in June, I was calculating the numbers, and once I'm done with the two gun match, which is the last pistol match at the time I was registered to, I was down to like 3,000 9mm, and so I was thinking, hey, I gotta go buy primers. So I went to internet, nothing there. And then I went to my local shops. I found one place that had like 2 boxes of primers, small pistol, and it was $120 per brick before tax. And Washington has big tax, so I bought 2 boxes of them, and I
Wow.
was thinking, I gotta stop doing this. It's $120 for 1,000 primers. So what
Yeah.
I did is, after the two gun match was over, I started shooting 40 caliber because I had over 10,000 rounds of 40 caliber available, loaded ones, the factory ones. So I shot 40 caliber for 2 months and maybe more until September. In September, I started shooting back in 9mm. And around the time, I was very fortunate. One of the PSDG member is actually local to me, and he actually called me up and, hey, I heard you have a primer issue, and I have some that I bought before pandemic, and I'm willing to sell it to pre-pandemic price. Woo, thank you so much.
Nice.
That was amazing. Yes. So I had, enough primers to shoot nationals.
Very nice.
You
Okay.
probably get canonized by the Pope. That's a good human being right there.
Oh, yes. It's very good.
Yeah.
human being. And that's one of the reasons why I shot more rifle stuff this year, too. I had the AK sent by the sponsor, and also they gave me the AK ammo, too. So I shot a little bit of AK, and then I shot a little bit of rifle ammo that I piled up a little, too. So this was fun
Okay.
here, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Dabbled in a little bit of everything.
Yes.
So are you going to shoot two gun nationals next year then?
Yes. That's definitely my schedule.
Okay. Nice. Now, you were saying that you're a full-time shooter. What exactly does that mean?
First of all, my main income isn't by shooting. My main income is by teaching.
Okay.
So that's one thing. And in order to be able to teach, first of all, you need to be consistently learning, analyzing things, analyzing shooters and common issues, and also come up with the solutions, things like that. And also, you need to be able to demonstrate. If you are not able to demonstrate, you're not verifying if the theory or hypothesis or the stuff you teach is actually realistic. So in that case, of course, I train pretty much every day. I used to train every day until 2017, and I got burned burned out. So my wife told me, hey, you need to do 3+1 system, which is 3 days training and 1 day off. But last year was more of a 5 days training and 2 days off to make things a little more simpler.
Okay.
And then, yeah, definitely a full-time shooter. Everybody has a little bit different definition. Some people think full-time shooter is a sponsored shooter. My definition of full-time shooter is, of course, every country has different hours of full-time job. Korea used to be 68 was the maximum full-time, but America's what, 40 something? 40?
Well, that's the average we look at is 40 hours a week
Yes.
on average.
But back then, when I was growing up in Korea, 68 hours was average.
That's why you
So
guys are
when I
so
was-
much smarter than
Well,
us.
Well, I mean, I work a 56-hour work week.
Mhm.
So,
So that number can be telling you, like, if you are training and perhaps not just training with a gun, but actually doing some study, or you could be working on your physical training too, like going to the gym. All those counts as a working to your shooting. If that's full time, yeah, you're a full time shooter.
okay. Yeah.
It's not really about if you're GM or not. If you're actually spending full time hours in your life to work on shooting.
Yeah. Devoted to shooting. Yeah. I
Mhm.
get it.
Yeah.
Okay. Makes sense. All right. So getting into, I know you have the nickname, the professor, um, which seems to fit you well. Now I have I've got a couple more videos
Mhm.
real quick, that I have some questions about. And the first one, I have a question about exactly what you're meaning in this drill that you posted. Okay.
Mhm.
So I'm going to play that real quick.
In between the pairs. You want to maintain everything as similar as possible. So the timer is just split time checking device in this drill.
Is that just like a confirmation drill or?
No, that's a new drill called step back. That's a teaser. So
Yeah. I'm not asking you to give away any secrets, but that's why I was just trying to figure out what you were doing there.
yes, that's a drill called step back drill. Basically, what it's working on is, let's say, I think a lot of people know double drill. Basically, you shoot a pair at a certain speed. For example, if you are shooting 0.2 second splits, bam, bam, at 5 yards, and if you are able to shoot the first shot and the second shot distance-wise about, like, let's say 2-inch group, you can shoot no matter how many pairs you shoot, like 10 pairs, and you still create that 2-inch group side together. Then 2-inch group theoretically at 15 yards becomes 6-inch group, because 5 yards, 15 yards, they're 3 times
Right.
more. So 2-inch theoretically is 6 inches at 15 yards.
So that
But a
would
lot
still
of-
be an A-zone style group then at 15 yards.
Yes, 6 inches is how wide the A zone is. But
Right.
the problem is, when people are actually shooting doubles at 15 yards, they either slow down their splits, or they may increase the hand tension, now start to yank the shot with the too much hand tension, or they may be actually relaxing the hand tension too much. Now support hand is not gripping hard enough, and now the recoil management get be weird. So this is typically mental, right? Because of the target is further away. Now you're conceiving, hey, 5-yard target became 15-yard target. It's a lot far away. I gotta be shooting slower, or shooting with the relaxed hands, or pull the trigger more carefully. Things can change. But theoretically,
Okay.
if you are able to do a certain thing, you should be able to apply that theoretical group size at any distances. So step back drill, the focus of it is First of all, when you shoot this drill, you need to know your group size at 5 yards doubles. So this is why I said 2-inch group is an example. Then once you shoot the 5 yards doubles, you shoot the step back drill to be able to apply the same recoil management back in further distances while maintaining the same. Basically, you're trying
Okay.
to mentally ignore the difficulty of the target. So as you're shooting 5 yard bam bam doubles, step back, do the same exact thing. Visually pick a spot on the target, zoom into a certain spot rather than the brown color of the target, because the brown color would be shrinking as you are stepping back. That's going to be
Yeah.
squaring you. So now you're visually learning how to look to a specific spot and then manage the recoil the same way. In this case, you cannot change the recoil management mechanics and the split times. So shoot the same splits, step back. Same splits, doubles, step back all the way back to about 15 yards. Now, if your theoretical group size was 2 inches at 5 yards, like we talked about, it should be all alpha. You can think of it as a alpha, managing the alpha in that case, if it's 2-inch group. If it's like 3-inch group, you can just think of it as a group size and use target as a bullet hit checker almost. And that's why I was saying to in the video, teaser video, you use the timer as a split checker. So you
Right.
start the timer once, and once you start the timer, you do not reset the timer. Because sometimes people are so accustomed to use the timer as a starting. You just start whatever your pace is, and then shoot bam, 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 all the way back. And at the later time, or after your drill is over, just check your timer and go through the split times. And if you are actually changing the split times or shooting the same split times. Now, if the
Right.
split time changes, the group size is likely changed too. So the really goal about this drill, step back, is to be able to first, ignore the difficulty of the target, but managing the recoil the same way and confirming the same way, split time same way, and not changing anything. But of course, you have to learn the mechanics. First of all, you need to know how to recoil management, and second of all, you need to learn how to look to a specific spot on the target rather than the brown.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, I've been teaching myself to just, regardless, well, unless there's a partial, but always look to that A in the A zone. That's my spot that I'm always looking at. It gives me something to actually look at. So
Yes. In my opinion, a lot of the shooters, to be honest, has better skills than they know how to do. So, for example, in the top 30 at nationals, in terms of like recoil management, I don't think there's going to be huge difference. But some people are not able to shoot fast enough on a further shot or more difficult shot because of this mental hurdle. Even though
Right.
they are able to shoot close target, very, very tight group with the fast splits. But top shooters, you see them shoot 15-yard target, it's like 25 splits in carry optics. And a lot of the good shooters are not shooting that pace, even though they have the ability. So this
sounds like
drill
a
is
trust issue. Yeah.
Trust could be definitely one issue too.
Yeah.
But it could be trust. If it's only trust issue, you may be managing the recoil the same way, but just over confirming and pulling the trigger a lot slower.
Slow. Right.
Yeah. So in that case, it's actually a good way because your mechanics is solid. But a lot of the cases is actually they change the hand tension, change the wrist lock, change the or they may be not visually guiding the dot, meaning not looking at the specific spot. It could be actually a mechanical issue as well.
Okay.
Mhm.
Now, do you think that putting like a dot or something in the spot where you always want to aim, putting something there so going all the way back you can still see it and you train yourself to look at that spot regardless? Or
The demonstration on the video didn't have a tape on, but in the video I kind of mentioned if you're shooting first time, it is a good idea to have a marker on or white paster, things like that.
right.
What that does is it can help you to actually focus on specific spot on that tape and trying to
Right.
see that as clear as possible at all times. So in that case, it's a good idea, but eventually you need to learn how to look to a specific spot on a brown single target without paster.
Right. Okay. All right. Pretty cool. Now I've got one more video,
Okay.
and we'll be good.
Before you start the name for that drill.
Step back drill.
No, I know what it is. Who came up with it? The name.
All right.
Oh,
I did.
Okay. No,
All
that's
my
a good name
drills-
for it.
Yeah, thank you. All my
Yeah,
drills
no,
I
I'm
make,
like-
I come up with, I think about what the name is.
Yeah, that's a good name. I like it.
yeah. It's a good drill. I saw it and I was
Yeah.
like, oh, this is interesting. All right. This one is more, I know you've done a lot of research also into movement. Because I remember listening to you on a podcast, you said you watch soccer videos, you watch all kinds of different things to see how people move their feet and everything. So this is kind of part of that. So that may not be a shooting drill, but it's part of shooting. Here we go.
Yeah, I can feel the pain.
So it's
I
funny
heard the
because you've never met. So we have a personal, or I guess she's a physical therapist that works for us for the fire department, and she does my rehab for my shoulder. And just watching you, I was like, she would love to watch that video and see somebody, not me, in pain,
Yeah.
because she sees my face in pain all the time.
Yeah, I have a physical therapist as well, a very good doctor from
Yeah.
Boston. And that particular workout on the video we saw was actually from my physical trainer. He
Oh.
was a rugby player, and yeah, he's professional, the trainer at the gym. He owns gyms too, and now he's one of my best friends too. He actually made a couple of videos for training group as well. So they two communicate, actually, the physical therapist and also the trainer. And of course, they communicate with me. So it's like all three, we communicate each other. Sometimes we watch videos of other shooters as well. And one thing they noticed was my ankle stability is not as solid. And in terms of movement, like shooting on the move, the stability really changes the amount of sway on your gun. So the group of sway, meaning when you are shooting on the move on a dot, if you actually kind of look at the dot, how it's shaking around, and if you could like measure the shake of the dot or shake of the muzzle, that's the group of sway. The group of sway is very significantly influenced by the stability of your body. Of course, one thing I had big time was pronation of my foot, where my foot is collapsing inward, and that created a lot of sway. And ankle stability, it very affects how well you can manage your foot during the movement. So the exercise you saw is to, first of all, that exercise is not only strengthening, but learning how to activate that ankle stability and the big muscle, like the shin muscle. And also my physical therapist described it as a triangular muscle, which is like front of the foot to the heel. There's a muscle connecting the front and the heel of the foot. So activating that, and also activating the nice quad muscles and glute muscles too, because glute muscle is one of the biggest muscles in our body. So in that exercise is doing those works to activate those. So if you are actually carefully watching that exercise, my ankle is pretty stable. Of course, there may be a little bit of wobble, but pretty stable. So that stability is the first initial stability everybody has to have, because this is actually from my physical therapist. You want to focus in terms of shooting on the move stability from bottom up, meaning the foot, ankle, and the knee point where the quad is, and the glutes, the lower body. Because when we are shooting on the move, especially laterally, we need to be able to separate the upper body and the lower body, because upper body has to track the target or make a target transition side to side. So in that case, we cannot lock or have that engagement connected to the lower body, because lower body has to move in a certain direction. So that exercise really helps me to only focus on the bottom part of the body. So glute, of course, ankle up and up to the glute. So that exercise really helped me to make the shooting of the move very stabilized. That's something that I started working on in 2017. That's when I first hired physical trainer and physical therapist as well. So the results I am seeing this year, last year, and maybe even 2019. 2019 is the first year I started seeing tremendous stability on my shooting on the move. So 2017 is extremely hard year for me to learn how to eliminate the pronation of my feet and have better stability here and there. A lot of protein powder and a lot of workout was
Okay.
that year made.
Wow. All right.
He's
So
getting
it's that's a great exercise. I wasn't sure if maybe you were going to start an OnlyFans page and do some twerking, or
That's not a
I
bad
mean,
idea.
if you're gonna do that, you definitely have to separate your upper half from your lower half. So
it's just another source of income,
it takes good core stability and a strong lower back.
My wife might not approve that.
Oh,
Come
yeah,
up
that's
with
true.
No. You listen. You came up with the name Step Back. I'm pretty sure you can come up with an OnlyFans name. You'll be fine.
All right, we've taken a lot of your time.
But hold on, I got.
I haven't gotten there yet. I was going to ask you.
Okay. Sorry, I got really excited because I had a couple questions.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, have you seen Sasquatch?
Like a real Sasquatch or a
Yeah,
person?
like bangs on trees. The whole like an earth.
A real one.
Yeah.
No.
You know that whole thing.
I've
You
seen.
live where they live. That's why I'm asking.
I know. They're like 20 minutes away from me.
And have you ever been confused for a Sasquatch while wearing a furry jacket? Because you're tall.
I know a person called Sasquatch.
Yeah.
He's a good
No. Like, have you seen?
No.
Okay. Well, I don't know if you're telling me the truth, but that's fine. Okay. Have you replaced your shoe?
I replace it very often.
Okay. Well, no, I mean the one that you purposefully cut a hole.
Yeah.
Okay.
That one's gone.
Okay.
That one's gone. I threw it away.
Did you bring the duct tape with you, or did you have to buy it?
I bought it. My wife actually got me a tape that's a medical tape.
Okay.
It's a little bit elastic tape,
Yeah.
but they didn't really hold up very well. So I went to a sports shop and then got a duct tape.
Okay. Was that the only thing you bought, or did they have like weird questions when you went up and were like, "I need shoes, duct tape, and rope"?
No, they were fine.
Okay, I just want to make sure it wasn't like an awkward situation. So, what do you think is more impressive to get? Your wife getting her PhD or you getting your GM? And don't worry, we're not going to let her listen to this episode.
I'm seeing what she's doing with her degree, so absolutely PhD is
okay.
Yeah.
That's a good husband right there. Smart. Okay.
Thank you.
How long this might have been when my kid decided to disconnect the internet. How long were you in the ROK?
2 years.
2 years. Is that mandatory?
At the time, 2 years were minimum.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if that came up because again, my kid was just like, "Oh, cable in the wall."
It did.
Like, okay, cool. Just making sure. Okay. I just wanted to apologize again for the whole nationals and fist bump thing with Max.
Well, it was important lesson for me, so
I know, but
it's
still,
good.
you know,
I like lesson over winning.
But yeah, the
Winning's
Sasquatch
great.
thing was actually the most
Wow.
important question I had. So
Yes, Hwansik was actually an electronics technician in the Army.
see,
There we go. See, listen.
I could have used you to fix my interwebs when my kid decided to.
No,
Yeah, it's
I was
just
the
plug
driver.
it back in.
I was a
Yeah.
driver, so if you let me borrow your car, that'd be great.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, the check engine light's on, but sure.
I'll do a car wash and return it in
Oh,
about
yeah.
3 years,
Yeah,
3-4
that's
years
fine.
maybe.
Yeah,
There you go.
I'm not even gonna stress about that. My wife will be happy. She hates my truck. Yeah, that's
Well,
all.
that's all you got?
Yeah. Again, the Sasquatch thing was the most important thing. I still feel like you're holding back on me a little bit, but it's fine. You know. It's cool.
Well, if you ever are in the mountains in Washington and you have a Sasquatch sighting, you need to let us know so we can report that.
Yeah, or I'll just
On the
send you
podcast.
Sasquatch jerky or something.
Oh, there you go. Perfect.
Listen,
There it is.
I will hold you to that. And you're gonna be like, we found him. You know.
Why does that sound like Chewbacca?
Because he's the most like a Sasquatch. It's the big, you know. He's like that planet's version of Sasquatch.
Okay.
I mean, they have their own planet, but yeah. Okay.
Right.
That's all I got.
Well, Hwansik, we appreciate you coming on. Thank you for all of your time.
Thank you for the invite. Thank you. It was a fun time.
Absolutely. We'd love to have you on another time in the future. Okay.
Yeah, sounds great to me.
After Worlds in 2030. Or whenever.
Right.
Yeah.
When COVID finally goes away.
Yeah. In 2050, when you finally go and become the first Korean to win it, we'll have you back on the show.
There you go. When he puts his walker to the side. All right. Thanks again, Hwansik.
Thanks a lot, man.
Guys.
Until next time.
Don't be a little bitch.
Yeah.